What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm down at Mulinaro Motorcars and we're going to take a look at this 2021 Mercedes Benz GLS 580. Huge shout out to them for providing this SUV for me today. Make sure you check out their website because they have a ton of awesome pre-owned inventory, so definitely check them out. The model that you see behind me is finished off in polar white and it has an MSRP just under $111,000. But we're going to start off today's review with what powers the GLS. Up underneath the hood, you'll find the 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine, which also has the EQ boost system, and that's paired with the 9-speed 9G automatic transmission. This pumps out 483 horsepower around 5,500 RPM and 516 pound-feet of torque as low as 2,000 RPM. It also has the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, weighs in right around 5,700 pounds, yet it'll do 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds. It also has a fuel capacity of 23.8 gallons, so you can expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city and 21 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 123.4 inches. Its overall length is 205.2. It has a width of 77 inches, a height of 71.8 inches, and its ground clearance measures in just under 8 inches. And with those specs out of the way, we can take a look at the exterior now on this GLS. So I'm going to start off with the adaptive LED headlights. You'll notice that the headlight housing itself has a really nice design to it, and this model also has LED DRLs and LED turn signals. That strip is located on the top section of the housing, but this also has 2 strips right in the middle for the turn signal, and then of course we have the high beams as well, so that gives it a really nice intricate look. As we work our way to this grille now, you'll see just how massive it is. It has plenty of cutouts to provide maximum cooling to that V8 engine. You'll see the large Mercedes Benz badge right in the center that's also finished off in chrome, and that chrome trim surrounds the rest of the grille here just to tie it in nicely. You'll also notice the forward-facing camera along with all the integrated parking sensors. The lower section of this bumper has a really nice gloss black trim piece just to break up some of that white, and you'll notice we have some really nice contoured lines that surround these air inlets on both sides. There's even some more air inlets in the lower section here to provide even more airflow. And this model also has functional air inlets on the outer sides of the bumper, so that will help direct the airflow around the front end, of course. And then up on the hood, you'll notice that we have 4 lines coming down it just to give it that aggressive look. And this model also features a camera on the upper section of the windshield just to provide you with some better visibility. So working our way to the side profile now for this GLS, I'm going to start off with these wheels. So we have a few different wheel options that you can get for this model. This specific one has the upgraded 23-inch wheels. These are also the AMG wheels as well, so you can see that on the outside lip. And we have the 2-tone design along with the split 5-spoke pattern, so it gives it a great look against this vehicle. We also have the power folding side mirrors. You can see they're finished off in gloss black. They have the integrated turn signal and a camera underneath each one. So we have a lot of cameras around this vehicle, and I'll show that later on once we get onto the interior. Up top on the roof, this has a full panoramic sunroof. You can see the roof racks are also finished off in black just to tie in a little bit nicer. And this model also has the adaptive suspension, so you can use a control on the inside to raise and lower the vehicle, depending on if you need that extra clearance, or you can lower it all the way to make it easier to enter and exit. You'll also notice that this has some really aggressive lines to the side profile. You can see the fender arches both in the front and the rear, along with a really nice line that runs just underneath the side mirrors. And we have a nice line running in the lower section of the door, where you'll also notice this has a running board. So again, that will help with entering and exiting the vehicle. You'll also notice we have a 2-tone design for the door handles, so you can see chrome on the top along with white on the lower section, just to tie it in nicely and give it a great side profile look. And last up for this GLS, you can see the body colored spoiler with the nice gap for all of the air to be channeled up underneath it, along with some gloss black trim pieces on both sides of this rear glass just to tie it in nicely. Of course, we have LED taillights and brake lights just to give it a clean look, along with this chrome trim piece that goes right through the middle of the power liftgate. This also has a backup camera along with parking sensors down in the lower section, where you'll see more gloss black. We have the dual exhaust with brushed aluminum tips. And this also has a towing capacity up to 7,700 pounds. And now it's time to move on to the interior for the GLS. So I have the vehicle locked and the key in my pocket. I'm just gonna grab the door handle. You'll see the mirrors unfold. And now we can move on to this beautiful door panel. You'll see black leather on the armrest along with gray stitching. We have brushed aluminum on all of the window controls along with the side mirror adjustments. It's also on the release handle. You can see lock and unlock are just behind that. And then we have all these seating adjustments just above that, along with the memory seating adjustments. These are heated and ventilated, and you can also adjust the front passenger seat by pushing on that button and using all of those controls, which is really nice to see. This also has the 13-speaker Burmester audio sound system and the interior lighting package. So that is this strip on the lower section of that trim piece. You'll also notice down in the lower section of the door, we have the power liftgate release, along with a good amount of storage space. And then as we work our way to the interior, you can see Mercedes Benz down on the door sill. And now we can move on to these black leather seats. They have a really nice design to them, along with more of that gray stitching. You can see the inserts running down them and the aggressive side bolstering support. And now once inside with my foot on the brake, it's time to start it up. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster, it measures just over 12 inches, and there is a ton of information that you can go through using two buttons on the left side of the steering wheel. So we have the home button along with a scrolling button right in the center. So I'm going to start off on the right screen there where you'll see suspension along with comfort. If I use that dial, we can swipe over and you can see there are multiple pages to look at, like your 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. You can look at the distance, pacing. There's also a G-force meter. You have the navigation, which you can also pull up, and some other information too. So it's very nice to view all of that along with fuel economy. And then we have the TAC if you'd like to pull that up. I can use that rotary dial to swipe into the middle now, or you can pull up a few more pages. You can look at some of this information if you'd like to see it right in the middle, along with the miles per hour, which you can see just transferred to the top screen if you're not on that. And we can scroll all the way down and look at a few more pages. And then over on the left side, if I use that dial to swipe over one more time, we can pull up the miles per hour. You can look at the clock, the date as well. You have some other averages to look at. You'll also notice the fuel gauge is on the lower left and the EQ boost is on the right side. Those are stationary. And then I can also push on the home button too, and you can pull up a lot more information. We have all the driver assistance, your phone. You can pull up the navigation along with the radio and media. As we work our way now to the steering wheel, you'll see it's completely covered in leather. We have solid on the top and the bottom, and then it's perforated on both sides. You'll also notice over on the left side, along with those two controls, we have all of the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. On the right side is power and volume for the radio, along with Bluetooth and voice commands. And then this row of buttons on the top will control that middle 12-inch screen, which I'll show here soon. You'll also notice this has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters that are finished off in that brushed aluminum to tie in nicely with all of the trim on the steering wheel itself. And then over on the right side as well, we have the shifter. So right now with my foot on the brake, all I have to do is move it all the way up into reverse. And now we can move on to this camera system. So you'll see we have the top-down view on the left side. On the right side, we have the backup camera, of course. And then we have multiple angles that you can go into to see around this entire vehicle. We can also change to the front-facing camera as well, where you can see that. And then we have the backup along with the parking sensors on the left side. There's also a trailer mode too. So if you're backing up to a trailer, that can give you some more visibility. And then when you put the stalk all the way down, you'll see the forward-facing camera automatically pop up. And then by pushing on the end of the stalk, that will put it back into park. As we work our way to the left side of the steering wheel, you'll see the electronic parking brake along with all the headlight controls. We have a dimmer switch for the gauges. And from this angle, you can see that interior lighting. It is currently purple, giving the interior a very clean look. You'll also notice the entire dash is covered in leather and more stitching. We have a speaker up in the top as well. And then we have a lot more information to go through on this second screen. It is a touchscreen system, as you just saw, or you can use all these controls down below. We have the pad right in the center, along with home and back button. And then, of course, you can use both of these on the steering wheel itself. And I can go through all the same info that you just saw on the center screen. There's a few more settings that you can go into, especially for all the different driving modes. So we have individual, sport, eco, and there's even an off-road setting as well. And you can adjust all of those by using this dial down below. You can also go into the settings tab here and basically adjust anything you want in this vehicle. So we have all of the technology features here that you can quickly turn on and off. You can go over to assistance for the driving aids that this vehicle has to offer. You can go into vehicle and lighting. This is how you can configure that ambient lighting. You'll also notice there are 4 air vents just underneath that, along with another strip of purple going all the way to the passenger side, just to give it a really clean look. You'll also notice just below that we have a row of toggle switches here that are finished off in brushed aluminum. We have the temperature for driver and passenger on the outside, fan speed, along with where you'd like the air to go. You can sync everything as well. And then just underneath that, you'll see this trim piece here. If I open this up, that will reveal 2 cup holders along with a wireless charging port. And there's 2 USB-C ports over in the corner, and we can easily close that up. And then just behind that, you'll see over on the left side of that pad, we have the driving modes that I just showed. If you push on this parking button here, this has parallel parking, so it will start looking for a spot for you and make it much easier to park, basically doing it itself. If you push on the car icon just below that, you can see the shortcut menu that I already showed. And then there's also a customizable button, so you can use this and set it up however you'd like to, basically what you use the most. Over on the right side is power and volume for the radio. And then we have shortcuts to map and navigation along with media and phone. And you can also see this pad right behind that. You can rest your hand there and use all of these controls just to make it a little easier. And then just behind that, we have a shortcut for raising and lowering the vehicle. And then you'll also notice we have grab handles on both sides with more of that ambient lighting and brushed aluminum. Gives it a really clean look, and you'll see they're covered in leather as well, leading all the way to the center armrest. I'm just gonna push this button on the top, and then you can see that has a split style to it with plenty of room. You can see a little storage bin along with a USB-C, and of course we can close those individually. And then as we work our way to the glove box now, you'll see plenty of room for all the information that has to go there. We'll take one last look at these seats. And then as I mentioned, this has a full panoramic sunroof. You can control that with the dial up in the middle along with all of the dome lights. And there's also a sunglass holder in the front section as well. And jumping into the middle row now for the GLS, you'll notice that we have 2 captain's chairs, we have the adjustable armrests, and they have a multiple way power adjustability. We have all those controls on the door panel, just like you saw for the front seat, so we can move it forwards and backwards and even recline it. Plenty of room for your middle row passengers. At 5'10", I have the front seat set at my height. I have no issues with knee or foot room, and I have around 6 or 7 inches above my head as well. So you can be much taller than me and still fit in the middle row, which is great to see. You'll also notice too that we have a privacy shade that we can raise and lower using the window control. So when the window is all the way up, then you can use that button as the window shade control by putting it up or down, which is really nice to see. And this middle row is also heated, so we have that control on the door panel. You'll notice that we have the dual zone climate for the middle row. All of those controls are right in the middle here, where you can adjust your fan speed, temperature, and everything like that. There's also a little bit of storage space just underneath that, so you can push on this button and slide this tray out. There's a USB-C port along with a 2-prong outlet and a little bit of space if you need to use it. You'll notice there's 2 air vents along with 2 cup holders. There's a net behind each front seat to provide you with a little bit more storage. And then in the third row now for the GLS, at 5'10", I have around 2 or 3 inches above my head, and I've moved this seat forward just a little bit so my knees are up against it, but that doesn't sacrifice that middle seat passenger's legroom at all. So these are functional for full-size adults, which is nice to see. And we have some amenities. There's a few cup holders and USB-C ports, along with a little bit of storage space if you need to use it. And then last up, it's time to take a look at the rear storage space. So I'm just gonna hold the button on the key fob. You will see the liftgate automatically open up. And with the third row up, you can see there's a decent amount of storage. You can put in some larger items if you'd like to. There's even some hidden storage up underneath this floor, along with the spare tire as well, and an area to put this removable cover. So if you want to take this out, at least you have a place to store it, which is really nice to see. And the third row and second row are adjustable using these buttons over on the right side and the left side. So you can see on the passenger side, this is how you can adjust the third row, and then over on the driver's side is how you can adjust the second row. So just by pushing on these buttons here, you can see that second row automatically slide forward and fold down as well. And then the same thing with the passenger side. So you can get those out of the way and then go ahead and fold down this third row to give you a lot more interior storage if you need to use it. You'll also notice over on the passenger side is a 12-volt 2 if you need to use that. And then up top being the power liftgate, we can either close and lock the vehicle or just close it. Alright, so getting the 2021 Mercedes Benz GLS 580 out on the road now. This has been a really cool SUV to check out, and it's on the larger size, being a full 3-row vehicle, but it has a lot to offer. Not only do you get that Mercedes Benz technology with this large screen here that looks really cool. I love how that's all integrated together, but you have a functional vehicle. If you need this amount of room for a lot of people, a lot of storage, or even towing, this can do it. It's basically a 3-in-1 or a 4-in-1 want, if you want to include the fact that you could take this off-road if you wanted to, by adjusting the ride height, you can put it into the off-road setting. And there's even the option to get the bouncing feature that Mercedes has incorporated into this model to help you if you are stuck in off-road situations and get some extra grip. So it's really neat how you can have this luxurious vehicle that can basically do it all. It's very comfortable and smooth to drive as well. I believe I am in comfort at the moment, and I can quickly go into that by using this dial down below. But let's go ahead and pop it into sport mode, because this has a good amount of horsepower and torque. We can downshift to a second gear here and give it a little bit of gas. Wow. That 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine just wants to keep going. It's very smooth in those shifts. Paddles are pretty responsive too. This is not a vehicle that you're going to do a lot of sporty driving in, especially getting out on back roads and things like that, but it still has that Mercedes-Benz performance, even though this is a very large SUV. You can get up to the speed limit very quickly if you wanted to, and you can still tow with it too. So it has some different purposes for that amount of horsepower and torque. It's not all that loud from the interior either, from that exhaust note. So it's very well insulated, which is nice to see. Of course, for this type of vehicle and the price point, you want this to be a very luxurious vehicle as you drive it down the road, yet you can give it a little bit of gas there and hear that engine note, which is really nice to see as well. And then I want to quickly talk about the visibility. Without using all the camera systems, it's really easy to look over my left shoulder and my right shoulder. For being such a long vehicle, the pillar in the back is not all that bulky, but I can see around it using side mirrors, of course. But this camera system is really helpful. And I love the fact too that when you come to a stop, you can see that forward-facing camera there, and it gives you great visibility on both sides. So right now I can actually see the curb on my passenger side, and when I start giving it gas, of course, that will go away. But it helps you just to give you that extra visibility. This does have a pretty large hood to it, and I can kind of see that passenger side just a little bit, but it's really nice to have that extra angle. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for my walk around review and test drive, getting behind the wheel of this 2021 Mercedes Benz GLS 580. Once again, huge shout out to Mulinaro Motorcars for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website, that is down in the description below. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button if you'd like to stay up to date on our daily uploads. And I'll see you in the next video.